Welcome to the Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard, where continuing education meets convenience. Lisa brings therapists practical conversations with expert guests who share tools, techniques, and insights to enrich your practice. Whether you're on a walk, commuting, or cooking dinner, you can earn continuing education contact hours and stay inspired without sitting through endless recorded trainings. Visit lisamustard.com to join the CE membership and keep your professional growth as seamless as your favorite podcast.
Meet Berries, the AI-powered scribe that writes your therapy notes for you. Secure and private with no recordings stored and EMR ready with one click. Join over 8,000 clinicians, saving time and staying present in sessions. And right now, save $50 off your first month with code TherapyShow50. Berries, so you can focus on care, not notes.
Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of The Therapy Show. I'm your host, Lisa Mustard, and I'm so excited for y'all to meet Justin Allen Montgomery. Welcome to the show. It's amazing to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Lisa. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. I am not going to lie. I'm so thrilled to have somebody on the podcast that teaches health professionals how to create continuing education. I have a lot of questions, but if you could share with our listeners who you are and how you got started in this, I find it fascinating.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a nurse practitioner by training, and I've been through the grinder of healthcare in this country. The whole corporate grind, seeing a patient every 15 minutes, billing insurance, and going that whole route, right? I mean, I think we've all experienced that. So I was doing that for a while, working in urgent cares and emergency departments and stuff, and I decided to start my own practice. Started a couple practices, mostly men's health clinics. And I did that for a little while, but I was still exchanging my time for dollars. I was still stuck in the time for money trap, basically. And I was just getting burnt out, just burnt out seeing patients all the time. I was getting burnt out, having to earn every dollar that I made by exchanging my time for it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't make money unless you see a patient, right? Even in your own business, even your own practice. That's just how it goes, unless you hire other providers or whatever to see patients for you. And so I decided to try to start something a little bit more passive in nature and started a business called the Elite Nurse Practitioner. And so that was my CE business. And what I did with the Elite Nurse Practitioner, we started that in 2019 and launched our first course in early 2020. And I basically teach nurse practitioners how to start their own practice. So that was kind of my niche. And so we taught them how to start their own practice in addition to teaching them various niche clinical skills. So instead of teaching them just standard clinical guideline-based practice, we taught them more alternative medicine, clinical or niche stuff, functional medicine, integrative medicine. So a lot of hormone replacement therapy and functional psych and IV therapy, weight loss, et cetera. So started that in 2019. And by the time 2023 hit, mid 2023, it was basically a 7-figure revenue yearly business. It allowed me to retire at the age of 39, basically.
Nice. Oh my gosh. You are speaking therapist language. I'm kind of joking a little bit. So many therapists they're probably nodding their head and going, yes, I totally get it. I am, back to back. I don't make money unless I'm seeing clients. I thought I wanted a group practice and then I would hire other clinicians to see patients or clients, but I find myself still in the business so much. And they're just looking for other ways that they can, stay in the game and help more people and make an income that they don't want to run away from it screaming. And I find continuing education, that's been that for me. And it's been a wonderful pivot in my career. Now, don't get me wrong, I still work full time, but this is my part-time, side business that brings in a nice little substantial income for me and my family. And I hear from therapists all the time. They want to, how do I get into continuing education? I have an idea for a course. Where do I even start? How do I get approved? Like all the questions. And so what I did was I created a chat GPT that answers those questions for therapists. It helps them kind of outline a course. It helps them understand the guidelines that they would need to follow if they wanted to create a continuing education course. So I have that. But I also, I don't have the time to teach or create a course on how to then take it to the next level. So when I learned about what you're doing, I got so excited. Can you tell us more about what ProCourseStart is and what it does and how it helps therapists get there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I teach. I teach health professionals, anyone in
Mhm.
healthcare. I mean, mental health, standard medicine, like whatever, doesn't matter. We teach anyone from a psychologist to a therapist to
Mhm.
a neurosurgeon to a chiropractor, whatever. The process is exactly the same thing. It doesn't matter. The only thing that differs is who you're getting accredited with for offering CE. That's really the only difference. So yeah, so we teach medical healthcare professionals how to start continuing education course businesses, and what separates ProCourseStart from everything else is that I teach you how to build it in a way that it's the springboard for building a 7 or 8 figure CE business. So my goal is not to just teach you how to create a CE course and get it up on a landing page and sell it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's relatively easy to do. Most people can do that. You can just look it up. My goal is to help you build a business that is actually a real CE business, not just a CE course you're just trying to make a few extra bucks from. So that's
Right.
kind of what separates us. We walk you through step by step on how to do it.
Mhm.
I put my personal experience into this, not only building an 8 figure CE business myself, but also mentoring and helping dozens and dozens of other healthcare professionals do the same thing. And so I'm in a very unique position to where I see the inner workings of this on the back end. And there's very few people really in the world that, that are able to do that. So
Yeah.
I'm in a fortunate position.
Yeah, yeah, congratulations on your success. That's just wonderful and amazing. So what would you say what are the things that would make a CE continuing education company successful? Like what do we need to be thinking about, or what do we need to be if we want to get into this? Like where do we even start? What do you suggest?
So what separates a successful CE business from a non-successful CE business, in my opinion, is truly teaching something that's actually valuable, you know? So let's first talk about the 3 types of CE businesses out there, right? So the first type of CE business is where the value of the business, the courses lie in just the CE credit, the CE hour, right? We're all guilty of this. We have all taken garbage CE courses so we could get our 2 or 3 more hours that we needed to renew our license, right? Like we didn't even go through the course. We just click next on the screen so we could just get that, take the test at the end and get our CE hour, right? We didn't really care what they were teaching. We just wanted the CE hour.
Mhm.
So that's the first model of a CE business, where the value lies in the CE credit, the CE hour. The second kind of CE business is where the value truly lies in the information you're teaching. People actually want to know what it is that you're teaching. They want to learn from you. They want that knowledge. They want something that actually transforms their career, their profession, their personal life. It's actually transformative in nature. Buying the course because they actually want to know what it is that you teach. They don't care about CE or not. So the second kind of business, you don't even have to offer CE to it. It's still continuing education, but you're not attaching an official CE credit or CE hour to it.
Mm.
The elite nurse practitioner was model 2 for the first 2.5 years. I offered no official CE whatsoever, and it was $1 million business. Because people want to know how to start their own practice. That's what they were paying for.
Right.
Model number 3 is a hybrid of both.
Okay.
That's the model that you want to focus it on, because people are paying you for the knowledge and the information and the value of the course itself. The CE credit, the CE hour is just a cherry on top, basically. Now their employer reimburses them for it. Now it's a tax write-off, right? So that's the model you want to focus on. So it all starts with developing a value proposition. And so, people hear this term all the time when it comes to a business, that you have to have a good value proposition, but most people don't even understand what a value proposition actually is.
Right.
And so just break down the term value proposition. It's literally, what's the value you are proposing
Mhm.
to world? That's
Mhm.
what it means, right?
Right.
So what's the value you want to attach to your course? It needs to solve an actual real problem. So the equation for a value proposition is, what blank problem am I solving for blank demographic, or blank profession or whatever? And what's my solution for that problem? That's what a value proposition is. And so most people don't put don't put enough thought in developing the value proposition of the business. And that's where they fail before they even get started.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you, within your course, do you help the student or figure out if this value proposition actually makes sense, or is that something they have to do before they come into your course?
No, it's one of the longest sections of the course because it's one
Mhm.
of the most important things
Okay.
of
Oh,
starting
good.
your CE business. Yeah, the course that I had to teach you how to start a CE business, it's literally one of the longest chapters in the course. And then our mastermind that's where the most important concepts. You have to figure that out first before you progress further. You
Yeah.
have to. And so developing your value proposition and then understanding how to market your CE business, those are the two most important things. Unfortunately, those are the two things that people tend to look over the most. And so they're
Yeah.
doing it the exact opposite way.
Yes. I've been there. I understand both of those different aspects of starting, creating, marketing. That's one of the questions I get asked a lot too, is how do I market it once I create it? And yeah, you can only post it in Facebook groups so many times before you're like, nobody's buying my course. And I find I feel for people because I think that in some way they think, well, if I just share it in a Facebook group, surely I will get some buyers. And if you guys aren't watching the YouTube video, Justin Allen is shaking his head. So you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't just post it in some Facebook groups. You can't
Yeah.
just post it on your Facebook page.
Right.
Like, it doesn't work that way. N- the biggest reason why it doesn't work that way is that who the hell are you? People don't
Mhm.
trust you. Like, who are you?
Right.
Like, you say that you can teach this, but have you really established any kind of authority or built any credibility or built any trust with the people that are going to buy your course? You probably haven't. And that's what you need to do first before you can expect people to buy your course. And so the most successful CE businesses out there, they don't focus on selling their course. They focus on building an audience. That's what they focus on. And so that's what you need to focus on if you actually want to build a profitable CE business, not something that makes 500 to $1,000 a month extra for you. I mean, there's no
Mhm.
harm in an extra
Right.
$1,000 a month at all,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
But do you want that or do you want $100,000 a month?
Right. Yeah.
Big difference between that. And so it requires building an audience, and that's
Yeah.
what you need to focus on if you want this to succeed.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. This is all great information. Things that I knew when I got started. I was like, how do I figure that out? How do I build an audience? Speaking of your course, you have been so generous to offer my audience a code that they can use to get 25% off your course. So all they have to do is use the code Lisa at checkout and they'll get 25% off that course. And the link will be in the show notes, you guys. So, be sure to head down there and check the show notes and click on the information and check out Justin Allen's course because I have already. And I'm like, wow, I got to do this. I got to join this course. So let's talk about building an audience because I think that's something that a lot of therapists kind of overlook or they're not sure even where to start with that because they're so used to doing the work of therapy behind a closed door. They're not used to putting themselves out on social media. So when you talk about building an audience, what are you suggesting?
Yeah, by an audience, I mean building a following of people that just, they actually like you, like they actually like the message, the vision, the mission, the value proposition of your CE business. The majority of your audience are never going to buy from you. That's just a fact. So just have that expectation that 90% of your audience will never buy from you. They just won't. But that 90% that will never buy from you doesn't mean they won't refer someone to you that will buy from you, or they won't share your content with other people that they know. And some of those people might buy from you. You know what I mean? So you can expect 10% of your audience to actually buy your course. And so your audience are just people who truly value what it is that you're doing. And so it comes down to what your messaging strategy is. So like, what's your whole goal here? Like, if you're building an audience, what's your goal? What's the message you're trying to convey to people? Like, are you trying to empower therapists or some other clinician type or whatever to start their own practice? Are you trying to, empower them to learn this new clinical skill that will help help them get a raise and help improve client outcomes, whatever it may be. And so it all revolves around you developing consistent, valuable content that you post on a very regular basis. And by regular basis, I mean 2 times a week minimum. That can be 2 articles, or it can be a YouTube video and an article, or it could be what you're doing right here, a podcast. It could be really anything that you want it to be. And people are listening to you and they're reading your information because they actually do find some value out of what it is that that you're talking about. And so you just produce content on a regular basis. People begin following you. They begin really enjoying reading your material, watching your videos, etc. And that's what builds an audience. It all revolves around what's this common theme? What's the messaging that you're trying to put out there? And so with like the Elite Nurse Practitioner as an example, my podcast, the Elite MP Show, it's literally a podcast where we do nothing but talk about starting your own practice. And so I interview people who are in the process of starting their practice, and I help them over a period of 30 to 60 minutes. It's like essentially a consultation call that's recorded basically. And so that podcast in itself is responsible for 30 to 40% of our sales. Just that podcast alone, Then we have articles and stuff. It's all revolves around stuff that involves around like starting your own practice, basically. So we built we built a movement in a way. We, built an audience of people who are interested in that. So that's, creating an audience in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's great. Creating an audience through, you don't have to start your own podcast. You can be a podcast guest. Once you can get yourself out there, grow your brand that way. Your email list is important. I think that's a
Yes.
huge thing that you have to grow. Social media, I mean, I show up on it. I don't love it. Don't I know it's like a necessary evil, but it's funny. I find myself kind of less and less on social media, but I'm still selling courses. I'm still getting questions asked of what I do. People are still reaching out. So I think I think you just have to be really strategic and be very consistent. And I am consistent in creating the podcast and, the email newsletter. So I think maybe not so much on social media, but you got to find the thing that works for you and the thing that you enjoy. Kind of what I tell people.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, no, absolutely. Social media is a necessary evil.
yeah.
Think of social media as nothing more than extracting leads.
Yeah.
Like that's all it is. It's a lead extraction tool. Your goal is to try to get off of social media.
Yeah.
Like get people to listen to your podcast, get people to subscribe to your email list, try to get off of social media if you can.
Yeah.
But it's a great tool for at least sending the message out on, right? So you need to have multiple channels where you send your content through, and social media it's unfortunately one of the best channels for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is a necessary evil.
Yeah. Yeah. Is your podcast still going?
Yeah.
It still goes? Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Lead
awesome.
MP Show. I think we were at, God, I don't even know how many episodes now. It's at least it's at least 300 or something.
Oh, wow.
For 3 years,
Yeah.
4 years. Yeah. So we try to have a new podcast every single week. But yeah, it's probably one of the most valuable content channels that we have through the Elite Nurse Practitioner is the podcast. I mean, podcast is a great way to, provide content out there and to build an audience with. So that's how most podcast hosts make money is through their podcast, either through ads or they promote something, outside the podcast. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just one piece of content of many pieces that you can develop. The beautiful thing about a professional focused course business, a CE business is that most professionals are cool with reading an article. We're all educated people with master's degrees and doctorates and stuff. So like, reading an article isn't necessarily a bad thing. And publishing a couple articles a week works.
Okay. Yeah. So there's lots of ways to do this, to create a brand. Okay, cool. And then the value proposition, I find that, and I'm just speaking from my experience with therapists, they say, well, I want to create a course on, let's just say IFS, which is internal family systems theory or model. How do they stand out? How do they, I guess that's just building your brand. I guess that's part of, the brand building part, but someone who's been, they've been using this model for 15 years. They're helping so many people. Are there other things they should be considering besides just trying to build their brand and get it out there? I mean, I guess you have to make sure your people want this training, right? I mean,
Yeah. So I guess the underlying question is what separates,
Yeah.
how do you separate yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like someone wants to teach about that topic. I'm sure there's probably a lot of CE courses out there that teach it, right?
Mhm.
So like, how do you separate yourself from that? And I think that the answer is pretty simple. It's how do you, how do you niche it down even further? You know, you don't want to teach real broad concepts if you can help it. You don't
Mhm.
want to teach very broad clinical based topics because a broad topic hits a very broad audience. And that's okay, but it tends to get muddied down because other people are doing it as well. You know, most people in the continuing education course space, most of them teach very broad things. They teach very general clinical topics. The most successful people, the ones that I've mentored and talked with who actually have a business that generates 20, 30, 50, $100,000 a month, they usually teach something very specific to a very specific group of people, right? And so, you know, as an example with the elite nurse practitioner, I could have created any kind of course on how to manage a variety of clinical topics. Diabetes, as an example, is a very broad clinical topic, you know, depression or anxiety, you know, and target all nurse practitioners. But that business wouldn't have done very well because that information is easily, you can find it fairly easy. There's a bunch of people providing CE courses about that. So if you can really narrow in your topic and teach something extremely specific, and be just an absolute master at that topic, then you can then target very specific groups of people within a profession that would be interested in that. And so, you know, nurse practitioners, only maybe 5% of NPs will ever start their own practice. And the market share of the elite nurse practitioner total was 2 or 3% market share of all nurse practitioners in the country. And it's an 8-figure business by only having 3% market share,
Mhm.
right? So the more specific you can be, the better you're going to be. So if you want to teach something broad, break it down even further into what are some very specific things that I can talk about that are actually transformative for the person who's going to take this course. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm thinking through, like, if you wanted to teach IFS, maybe teach it IFS when working with first responders. You know, you break it down even further, so you're, like, honing in on your niche or your target. That makes complete sense. Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I think people listening they'll be able to relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Okay.
So
Okay.
a psychologist, as an example, a psychologist that I've actually mentored with,
Mm.
she teaches how to use a very specific diagnostic tool.
Mm.
I'm not going to say what it is,
Mhm.
but how to utilize this very specific diagnostic tool in the mental health setting that tends to be more cash based versus insurance.
Mm.
And she targets, you know, therapists, psychologists, psych nurse practitioners, psychiatrists. And it's a very, very specific tool for a very specific condition that tends to only be a cash based kind of a thing. And she charges $3,000 for her course because it is so specific and it will help a practice owner integrate a cash-based service into their practice. 'Cause I mean, come on, who doesn't want to get away from insurance, right? It's a pain in the
Right.
ass.
Right.
So
Right.
like, you know, I mean, it just
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, it just is
Yeah.
like, so, but she charges $3,000 for this and it truly transforms her students' businesses because
Mhm.
now they have this cash-based diagnostic tool they can use that is in demand. And she doesn't need to have a lot of students to make good money.
Right.
That's the thing. If you can develop something that's actually fairly transformative in nature, if you can help people get a promotion,
Mhm.
you can help people make more money, if you give people back their time, okay, that's pretty transformative. If you can do those things, you can charge $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 for a course like that. And if you do the math, you don't need to have tens of thousands of customers here. You charge $1,000 for your course,
Mhm.
you have 1,000 customers. That's $1 million.
Wow.
1,000 customers. See,
Yeah, that's it. So we need to think about what are those niches out there, you guys, that that you can really kind of jump into. I think this is just, I mean, I know therapists, some people might be, shaking their head going, oh, I'm in it to help people and I want to make it cost efficient and cost effective. But, you know, there's no shame in like wanting a cash based business because there's just no shame in that. Like everybody's at different points in their careers and everybody has has different goals in mind. So I think this is going to be for the right person. This course. Okay, how long does it take for people to work through your course before you think they can actually jump in and get started?
yeah. So the ProCourseStart blueprint it's 15 hours long. So
Mhm.
it's a fairly long course. And I will literally walk you through every single possible step from
Mhm.
everything from developing your course to recording it to developing content on a regular basis to building the business in a way that you can sell it in the future. I mean, it's comprehensive. Usually what I tell people is that if you can dedicate 5 to 10 hours a week to developing your CE business, okay, 5 to 10 hours a week, in 8 to 12 weeks, your CE business should be fully built. Your course should be fully developed, uploaded to the course hosting platform, and you should be ready for your first sale. So 5 to 10 hours a week, 8 to 12 weeks,
Mhm.
that's all it takes. And
Yeah.
the investment of building it, I get that question quite a bit. Well, how much money is this going to cost me to start? It's
Mhm.
going to cost you a hell of a lot less money than it takes to start a practice.
Mhm.
5 to 10,000 dollars is about what you'll end up spending building out your CE business. While that might sound like a lot of money, I mean, it's really not that much money when you think about the profit potential.
Right.
Like you can
Right.
make really good money.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, you really can't.
yeah.
It's
Like
and
nothing else is like you're not going to get a better return on your money anywhere else. You're
mm,
just not going to. I mean, I invested about $10,000 in the elite nurse practitioner when I started in 2019 and
mhm.
it turned into a multi-million dollar business. I would have not got that return anywhere else. I just
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I know. It really is an amazing, and it's passive income. It's I'm sure you work on your business, but you're not working like you did when you were seeing all those patients. The
Correct.
different type of hourly trade-off.
Yeah. It doesn't require you to work in your business. You're able to
Mhm.
work on it, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not completely passive. I mean, it's partially passive. You still have to there's still some inputs that you have to put into it by developing content on a regular basis, by answering student emails, by answering messages on Facebook. Like you still have to you still have to put some love into it. But, to keep the business operational, you're only talking about 5 to 10 hours a week. Like that's it. Like you spend an hour a day on it, guys. That's pretty much all you really got to do to keep the business operational. And so it's very partially passive. So let's just say, like an example for me, I usually spend that hour or two on my business first thing in the morning. I'm usually up at 4:30, 5 o'clock before anyone else is up in my house.
Mm.
And I go straight to my computer, drink my coffee, and I work for 1 to 2 hours. And then I'm done for the day.
Yeah.
I can go fishing. I can go do whatever I want. And
Yeah.
while I'm out fishing or hiking or whatever, I'm selling courses. I'm
Yeah.
literally making money while I'm out having fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. So exciting. Okay, well, we'll put all the links in the show notes for everybody to check out Pro Course Start. That's the name. It's ProCourseStart.com, right? That's
Correct.
their okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So you
Yep.
guys, when you go check it out, use code Lisa at checkout to save 25% off. Is there anything else you would like our listeners to know?
Yeah. If you have any questions at all, email me
Mhm.
directly, guys. I'm happy
Mm.
to answer a question. Justin@ProCourseStart.com. Just email me. I don't have a virtual assistant. I don't have an AI agent that answers the emails. Like I will actually view the email and I will actually email you back. So if you have a question at all, just email me. I'm old school. I still like email. You can
Yeah.
find me on social media if you want and send me a message. Justin Allen Montgomery on Facebook and Instagram or whatever.
Mhm.
But email is the best way to reach out to me. So if you have an idea for your business and you just want to run it by someone who's been doing this for a while, just shoot me an email. I'm happy to help.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. This has just been awesome.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you.
Please note that the Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard is for informational and entertainment purposes only, and not a substitute for professional medical or mental health advice. Always consult with your therapist, doctor, or physician before implementing any suggestions from the show. The Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard is edited and engineered by Chelsea Weaver. If you're looking to start a podcast or ready to take the editing off of your plate, be sure to visit chelseaweaverpodcasting.com. Well, that wraps up another episode of The Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard. I know there are hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there, and I'm thankful you've chosen to listen to mine. Be sure to visit lisamustard.com to access the show notes and discover all the pod courses and other continuing education offerings. And I'd be grateful if you subscribe to the show. Thank you.